Hello, my name is Lin Humphrey. I'm a PhD student from Texas Tech University, researching social media and mobile marketing. I'm an alum of AmericanExpress.com, where I managed cruise and package vacations online, and Carnival Cruise Lines, where I launched the Carnival Vacation Store and worked on internet marketing projects. Today, I'm very honored to be back moderating the social media panel this year, and I think you are in for a very special treat. Our agenda is pretty simple. I will do some introductory remarks, and then we will move on to our panel. First, I'm going to talk about the state of social and the amazing statistics that have happened in the last year. I'll also do the same for the state of mobile. And those two topics are deeply intertwined, and it's often hard to tell what's actually mobile and what's social. And then I'm going to talk about some case studies. One is about driving effective word of mouth. The next is about identifying online influencers to try to drive product trial. And then I'll talk about the trend of sharing experiences, how we've moved from simply sharing a status to sharing an experience. And then we will introduce our panelists, who will each have a presentation of 5 to 7 minutes each. So the state of social. Last year when we spoke, the numbers were lower. I believe they were about 800 million active users on Facebook. This year we have surpassed 1 billion users. There's a lot of discussion that Facebook is no longer in favor with some segments of the user population, but with this type of critical mass, I could say that it's our home on the social web. But there are also 500 million users on Twitter. Twitter being an ongoing discussion in 140 characters or less. Much different type of discussion where you can actually have more volume for a customer brand interaction. Now, here's where it gets really interesting and more complicated for brands. These are some statistics that were shared by Eric Qualman, the author of Socialnomics. 90% of people trust the advice of friends, but 70% of people trust the advice of stranger. But keep in mind, context really matters here. This week at South by Southwest Social, when discussing the BlogHer network, it came out that 83% of BlogHer readers trust BlogHer bloggers that they don't know. So we trust the advice of friends, but context matters when we're considering strangers. Here's the hard part for brands. It's been stated that only 14% of consumers trust traditional advertising. So we're spending a lot of money on traditional advertising that's worked for us for years, but now the social consumer really sees trust from their own network. The state of mobile. Well, like I said, it's really hard to tell mobile and social apart. One of the key activities on mobile is social. Over 50% of Facebook use is via mobile. And these users are more active. They're actually twice as active as those who are participating on the web. Well, it makes sense. In my world, on the university campus, we see people pull out their iPhone, check their Facebook statuses, and then move on. So much shorter user sessions, but much more frequent. And this was a statistic that took a while to happen. It just happened this past year. Over 50% of phones sold today are smartphones, but the lines are kind of blurred. Even the feature phones out on the market have many of the key benefits, like Facebook, of the smartphones. As we see more plans like Virgin Mobile, pay-as-you-go, data plans getting cheaper, the hardware getting cheaper, I think we'll see this number spike even higher. And at least in my own experience in the classroom, we see that there are very few what we would classify as dumb phones in use anymore. Now, great statistic from Gartner. 1.2 billion tablets and smartphone purchases forecast for 2013. And as you know, the line is blurring between tablet smartphones. You have the Galaxy Note, which is somewhere between the two. You've got the iPad Mini, which is not that much bigger than the Galaxy Note. So it's a complicated sector. And then I had a great discussion with Lisa Kaufman over lunch, and we talked about the second screen as the new normal. Well, what do we mean by that? Well, it used to be that the primary screen in our life was the television, and we still always fought for attention because people are busy, they're talking to their family, they're multitasking. But today, the television is the second screen. The digital device is the first screen. So the second screen is the new normal, and mobile experiences are going to be absolutely critical. So I want to talk about a case study about driving word of mouth and sales. What you're actually looking at there is a quirky clothing brand out of San Francisco called Beta Brand. They do a couple of cool things. First, they do a great job with Facebook advertising, advertising their new product lines to their existing fans through Facebook and acquiring new fans through different ad modules. But what they do with their existing user base is pretty spectacular. They crowdsource images, and so that's actually an image of me in a smoking jacket. And their offer is this: become a model citizen. Send us a picture of you in our clothing, and we'll send you a 20% off discount. Pretty standard practice, right? Well, the 20% discount breaks in 24 hours. Well, we would expect that the uptake rate would be about 10 to 15%. No, Beta Brand actually sees that 60% of the people that send in a photo and get that discount actually redeem it within 24 hours. But what they do next is brilliant. Once that picture's uploaded, they send you a link. And the link drives you off to a page just like you're seeing there, which is a picture of the user in the middle of their web page. What that results in is every picture uploaded usually results in 20 shares to friends. And every 2 photos uploaded results in a new sale. That's the triple crown: repeat sales, word of mouth, and new customer acquisition. On top of that, they do a fantastic job of crowdsourcing authentic images. If you see in the upper left-hand corner, there are 2 people either base jumping or skydiving in disco pants. Those were not the only free-falling model citizens I found. As you can see, it's a wide variety of customers, and what this really does is when you see somebody wearing the clothes and it's not a model that is unattainable and not like the normal person out there, we elaborate in our mind, hey, that person looks like me, I could be a Beta Brand customer. And they're quirky and they're fun, and crowdsourcing works really well. And I bet you anything we're going to see a couple of really good examples of this. But a great way to deputize your audience and make them become brand ambassadors is through crowdsourcing images. And hey, we all want to share the incredible consumption experience of our vacation. Now, if this looks familiar and you were at the Chief Marketing Officer panel last year, I apologize, but it's still such a strong concept I wanted to talk about it again. And it's engaging influencers. There are now tools on the market where you can target online influencers with a score. It's almost like your credit score. There's clout, there's cred, and there's peer influence. Clout's 1 to 100, cred is 1 to 1,000, and it basically gives marketers a way to understand this is how influential this person is on the internet. Now, clearly, these measures are flawed. They have a long way to go. If we take into account that Justin Bieber was more influential than Barack Obama for quite some time, you can see that there's room for improvement. But the example I'm showing here is Virgin America. What they did was they chartered a couple flights, did 120 free flights to Toronto, 140 additional party participants on the other end, resulted in 7.4 million impressions. You get this fancy flight on the other side. You've got the red carpet, the Virgin flight attendants, the paparazzi, and of course you're going to talk about it. But the trick is they found the people with the strongest influence. Well, in the cruise industry, we've been doing this for years, but it's the fam trip or the inaugural. It used to be that we would just invite the really high-producing travel agents, the traditional media, New York Times, Travel Weekly, USA Today, and now the lines are a little bit blurred. We've got content creators out there that are putting out incredible content and have really strong audiences, and they can drive word of mouth with an existing cruise base. But then you also have non-cruisers out there that have cultivated a great following, and maybe they would be an awesome inclusion on the next fam trip or the next lunch in port to drive word of mouth for people that have not really thought about a cruise. So I bring this topic back to challenge the marketers in this room. How can we look at online influence in our segmentation and our targeting to drive word of mouth and really show that cruising is a fantastic vacation and a safe vacation? Finally, I'd mentioned this up front. Facebook is still our home on the web. There were a lot of complaints about timeline, and timeline is changing constantly. We just saw another change in the last day or so. But what it's really done is with the new modules where mobile apps tie in and share their updates, is that we go from status update, photo share, status update, photo. Now we're really telling the story of our life in real time, consumption experiences. From the food we eat, food spotting, which I affectionately call food porn, to our milestones. There's Cruise Shipping 2012, the Chief Marketing Officer panel. To the places we go, Foursquare. 10 years ago, marketing academics were saying of the 4 P's of the marketing mix, location is dead. The internet was a great equalizer. Well, now we can give you a geolocated special exactly where you are and based on your consumer behavior. Now we like to share where our locations are. It's a shared experience. I'm here. Don't you wish you were too? We share what we buy. Fab.com, an incredible retailer that has really quirky lifestyle type goods, allows consumers, just like Pinterest, to show these are my tastes, but in this case, you've actually bought them. We also share music in the news we consume. But think about these same ideas. The entire cruise is a hedonic consumption experience. We're consuming it for the joy of consuming, for having fun, for reconnecting with our family. There's incredible food, there's incredible beverages, there's music, there's entertainment, there's port enrichment lectures. Apps like this, or apps developed by the cruise lines or third-party developers, would be a way to drive that word of mouth while people are on the cruise. While they're on the cruise enjoying themselves, assuming that the technology allows the instant sharing, we're not just taking our family on our trip, we're bringing our entire network with us. And the cruise lines know once you're home, the halos, you got a little bit of halo time, but the real joy and the most exciting time is when you're on the cruise. So enabling passengers and guests to share these types of experiences will be a marketing mandate for the next 3 to 4 years. Now I'd like to introduce our panel. Had an incredible lunch yesterday with Lisa Kaufman, Vice President of Marketing for Celebrity Cruises. She's got some great examples to show us, and you'll really see that they have a well thought out framework that's driven their carefully executed social strategy. We have Brett Searcy from Starmark, a digital and traditional agency, and he's got some really cutting edge trends from mobile commerce to social, and I think he'll really enlighten us about things that could, as they get integrated in the cruise experience, could enrich the entire program. Finally, I'd like to introduce Kerry Finley Bajak. She's what I call the Swiss Army knife. She's a content creator, she's a social maven, she's a blogger, she's an app developer, and she will have a lot of great opinions from different points of view, also coming from the agency point of view because she did at one time have a travel agency. So sit back and enjoy. I promise you an exciting panel, and I appreciate you attending Cruise Shipping 2013.